What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 55 of the Chumpcast. Thanks for sticking with us while we took a week off. We try to be consistent, but all my dumb friends keep getting married and trying to be happy and shit like idiots, and it really interferes with me getting drunk and podcasting. This week, we saw the creepy reboot of Stephen King's It, and I gotta tell you, it's worth seeing in theaters. We didn't see it in 3D, but I can imagine a giant creepy-ass Skarsgård, and it might be worth it. Before we get into our review, we talk about what real-life shit actually terrifies us. We give our best and worst people alive of the week, and there are plenty of them, and also talk some recent news. As always, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at The Chumpcast. Email us at thechumpcast@gmail.com, or just yell shit at us really loudly from a distance, and we'll probably respond to you anyways. If you want to support the show, you can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, anything else by searching Chumpcast on teepublic.com. That's teepublic.com. If you're just a cheapskate, you can leave us a review on iTunes. It doesn't cost anything, I swear. I'm going to shut up now, but enjoy episode 55.
Speaking in a high voice. All right, peace.
Suck a big old fat one, a.k.a. Mark's actual Pennywise.
Georgie?
Nope, Georgie's
Suck a big fat one, a.k.a. Mark's actual Pennywise. Sounds like you just called Mark's dick Pennywise.
Yeah, what the
Ew, that's
well, it is terrifying.
That is a nightmare.
It's terrifying. It has teeth, big orange hair, a forehead.
big orange? How fucked up would that be if I had a big bush that was just
bright orange? That would be fairly fucked up. Great.
You wouldn't be. Let's go ahead and re-up that one.
Every day.
Let's re-up the start of this.
Yeah, should we re-up? Hey, Georgie, come lick my bush.
Yeah, this only works because we start over 4 times already.
Hey, Georgie, my crotch is on fire. God damn it. All right. So our stupid question of the week, since we saw It, Stephen King's It is the review topic of the week. And we wanted to ask, what form would the demon Pennywise take to scare the shit out of you? So what is your personal demon internally that really just fucks you up, throws you off your game? I got a lot of these, and most of them are pretty innocuous.
Overcoming fear, classic.
Yeah, and that's what the movie's about. It's overcoming fear.
Teamwork.
But I'm still terrified of all of these things. And I think at the top of my list would be a pregnant drunk Erica. So those of you who may not have listened, drunk Erica is my girlfriend of 5 years. But if she was pregnant, that's the scariest fucking thing in the world to me.
So you never want her to be pregnant?
I definitely don't now.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I'm so unprepared to have a child right now. I can't even fathom that.
Dad?
I know. We'll talk about that at another point.
I can't wait to just like take this snapshot of this podcast and put it to after your wedding when you actually have a child.
I can't wait to make the 1-minute clip of this conversation right now for Instagram videos.
That'd be great if you actually did anything for this podcast.
Burn.
Ooh. I think what might actually be worse than that is if an ex-girlfriend of yours came up to you and was like, hey, this is my 3-year-old kid who is yours. Like, that's fucking terrifying.
And by mine, I mean ours. Where's 3 years of child support?
Right.
Bitch.
And so what happens is, Brick, when you have sex, there's a possibility that you have kids.
Where's the stork come involved? I've always been told stork. I'm a stork guy.
We're going to have a talk later.
We don't need to.
Mark,
Storks.
give me what
Storks,
terrifies you?
Bees, birds, whatever. I'm in.
What terrifies me? I would
Love
say
animals.
After a
Tiny biceps, tiny calves.
Tiny biceps, not enough protein macros.
My
in your
pecs
meal.
disappearing when I put my arms above my head.
Just like the bad angle and bad lighting, you know, when you're trying to catch that raw Instagram pic and post it with your bros, you know what I'm
Hair
saying?
loss.
Basic penetration. Wait, what?
Wait, what? Food-wise, I would actually say like after a long night drinking, coming home, opening the fridge, there's nothing there. And then looking for like the number at Jimmy John's and then realizing they're closed and panicking because you have no food options and you're starving. But then you just pass out and you wake up like awkwardly hungover at like 6 a.m. and then you feel like you get fucking your stomach is eating itself and you just want to puke your brains out.
Are you telling me that your Pennywise is just an empty fridge?
Yeah, pretty much. After all the actual fake protein, bro. That's true. A great one. That's a great one.
Right.
Okay.
I'll list off another one that has nothing to do with food.
No, actually, that's my new fear is like being like, hey.
Just an empty refrigerator.
No, hey, can I get a large Lou's pizza? Oh, yeah, we're actually closed. No.
Yeah. I would say another one would be at some holiday party with family, let's say Thanksgiving, Christmas. And this has happened on multiple occasions for me where like your cousin is arguing with
And then you just start
an
kissing him.
uncle, and it just gets really awkward with the argument, and you get the vibe that nobody can really agree with your cousin because it's kind of like a respect thing, like respect your elders, even though your uncle is just drunk and wrong. And you're like, yeah, he's actually right, but you can't like say that. You know
I got one.
So your Pennywise is 1, an empty refrigerator, 2, a drunk uncle.
No, not a drunk, just awkward arguments at a...
You have to pick
Family
something
event.
that Pennywise could manifest.
Okay,
You can
all right,
manifest
let
it.
me do this one. Either when you get to work or when you're leaving work and somebody is about to get on the elevator with you who is either like a VP you just don't want to make small talk with, or that awkward guy that sits in the cubicle not that far away from you, but far enough where you guys don't talk and it gets weird because you know that you're kind of close to him and you probably should start up a conversation, but you just choose not to. Though that kind of thing.
See, I would expand that to say just
Mondays,
basically.
am I right? It's just the worst
Monday.
conversation ever.
I would expand that to just say seeing anybody that you know in public, like
Small
at a
talk.
grocery store.
Yeah,
just fuck
instantly
that.
bring up the
I-
weather.
Actually, speaking of the weather,
This is a perfect small talk week though, with like the hurricanes going on.
it's actually
Perfect
too
for
ideal for
talk.
small talk week. If
Man,
you-
hurricanes are crazy, right?
Yeah, like yo,
Did you see the winds?
quietly, the Mayans like they ballparked us a couple of years. You know, that's what that is. Like we have freaking hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, and
So global warming, am I right?
yeah, like this
shit.
is crazy.
Get out of here with your
Jim.
fake liberal agenda. All right, Brick, you got one for me?
I super had one, but then Mark really deterred me.
I can go
with-
down my list. I got
Give me a-
plenty.
give
the
me-
arguments
I got
at
plenty of these
Thanksgiving.
things.
Did I take that one from you?
It went no, it was that, and then I lost it. You go ahead, and Smith. Go ahead and drop some.
Mine personally, centipedes are fucking gross and
They're just
terrifying.
gross looking.
Can you
Look at
imagine, like
giant.
in the original, Pennywise turns into a giant fucking spider? Imagine that being a centipede. What would you rather see? A giant snake or a giant centipede? Because I think it's the legs that
Are
really just kind of
centipedes, like
make me
poisonous
uneasy.
or whatever. Like, what are you gonna do to
Does
me?
it matter if it's
Yeah.
if it's your size? Does it matter?
Yeah, you eat leaves.
It'll fucking eat you
You
either
eat
way.
leaves. You don't eat.
Centipedes
It's not
don't
a
eat
carnivore.
leaves.
It's not a carnivore.
To elaborate
What?
a little
A
bit.
centipede's not a carnivore. It's not gonna eat.
It eats
meat.
other bugs.
centipedes.
If it's your size, it's gonna fucking eat you.
Then
No,
what the
just
fuck
eat
is
like a
it eating
tree.
in your house when it's crawling around? What other bugs will it be eating?
They crawl up out of your fucking drain pipes.
Earwig would be grosser than a centipede.
So-
I mean, they're all fucking gross bugs.
What do
Okay,
earwigs even
can
eat?
we just?
To elaborate
So a
even more on the
giant
centipedes,
bug.
I think it's more scary, not just when you see a centipede, but when it slips into like a crack in the wall.
Oh
or
yeah, and you,
slips
like,
under
you threw
something
a
and
shoe
you're
at
like-
it,
yeah.
and you missed,
And
Yeah.
you know
Fuck
that
that.
thing's coming back.
I
and you're
consider
gonna
it-
see it in like a
and
day.
he's pissed.
But that's like
He's
not.
pissed because you tried to kill him.
Yeah, that's like not creepy though. That's like icky. Like ugh, it's a centipede. Ugh, it's more icky
I
than
think those are
creepy.
pretty- whatever.
Ugh.
Do you have one for me yet?
I-
All right, I'll keep
You
going.
took-
I've
you
got
took
plenty
mine.
more. Don't worry.
No. You had some uncle thing. Oh, it was something around those lines.
What about Willem Dafoe?
Oh my god, I got a good one.
the Death Note?
Oh my
That's
gosh,
actually
going
creepy
off
as
of
fuck.
food, when you bite into like, let's say a piece of bread or something and not realize there's a shit ton of mold under it. Oh my god, I hate moldy
I've never
food.
gagged more than moldy bread. I apologize for the screaming.
If there's mold on cheese and I eat it without knowing, I fucking flip. Or like bread or whatever, I'll flip it.
Cheese is just mold.
That's fake news
True.
mold.
No,
Fake
it's
news
not.
mold.
News. That's
Fake
fake
news
news.
mold. Yo, this is some dope ass mold. If I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make a dope sandwich, or I'm gonna like make a super amazing burger, and I go and make the meat, and then I bite into it, and like the back of the bun is green, I'll actually lose my shit, and I'll
So
gag
your
for
Pennywise
an
is
hour.
just a moldy sandwich.
Yeah.
Double whammy. It just
Jesus
ruins the
Christ.
whole meal right there. And you don't have any other substitute for the bread. Yeah, that's the worst.
I can't even eat the meat. I can't like take the bun off and eat the meat because there's still particles of the bread on there. Nightmare, full nightmare. I would have been like, yo, take me, just let me just die.
Mold is fucking
let me die
horrifying.
now.
It won't hurt you though.
It's internally, it's gross as fuck.
Okay, we're going back to the icky thing though.
I'm a big icky guy.
Okay, that's fine.
Things don't scare me, I guess.
Personally, my actual fear, like if I had to be realistic about this, is literally anyone who would be serving me a subpoena at any time for anything.
Hey, welcome to the Cubs game. Here you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
We
means.
have
Somebody
free
walk up
tickets to the Cubs game. Ryan Smith, is that you? Yes, it is. You've been served.
You've been served. Like I have this ridiculous fear of shit that I didn't do, but it doesn't matter. Like in this litigious society, like you can just be accused of anything ever.
You poisoned me with your moldy bread. I'm suing you for
How many
1,000
stories
million.
do you hear about people like that are accused of crimes that they didn't commit, and it just completely fucks up their entire life? They spend 15 years in prison and they get like $2,000 when they get out.
Yeah, I guess
Plus-
being falsely accused would be like, well, how would you like? What would it be like a judge? Nah.
You have to prove your innocence. Let's just pretend that back in like 2007, I might have downloaded illegally "Don't Mess with the Zohan." Like if I got a subpoena for that today, terrifying.
Oh, I know you were walking around your house for like weeks, like thinking, oh my God, if I get caught for this shit. For Don't Mess with the Zohan especially.
He's like, oh, I love that movie so much, but if I got caught by it, it'd be a nightmare.
It might have been Adam Sandler's one of his best performances ever.
No,
I'm not gonna lie.
it came out around the same time as I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Like, dude, that was the prime. No, it wasn't the prime. But
You heard it here
was,
first.
It was decent Sandler. It was decent Sandler.
My Pennywise is being an Adam Sandler fan in reality.
Your Pennywise is just Adam Sandler speaking at you in tongues.
Oh, yeah. How does he do it? I don't even know how Adam Sandler talks.
That was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I fucking had a good one and then I lost it.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds like it was really memorable.
I think it's being a host on the Chumpcast is my Pennywise. Yeah.
No, just being
I'm
a
living this
face.
reality, people.
Just being a face on the Chumpcast, maybe?
Yeah, the face on the Chumpcast. What do you think about the new logo?
Okay, the new logo. Yeah. Do we have a graphic designer that wants to do a new one? Because
Ouch.
I look
I spent
fantastic.
so much time doing that.
I look like an open mouth Pennywise Drader.
Is it the open mouth?
It's the open mouth.
I think it's adorable that you think that that's not what you look like.
I
Yeah,
think it's
no, it is what I look like. I want it. If we have the ability to Photoshop that to make me not look like a Drader, I'm in. Please do that. But
That's
hey,
just plastic surgery.
Find me a photo
I'm
because
not
I
like a
couldn't
s-
find one good headshot without you having
I would have rather
a finger
had
up your nose or an open mouth.
I would rather have the finger up the nose than the open mouth Drader. Funny story, actually. I was with my friend Brett. We're getting an Uber to this place somewhere near my house, and it's like not in the city, so like the addresses are kind of like not that great. So she pulled up and like was way down the street from me, and so I was like, I gotta call her. She's not gonna catch us. And so I'm like, oh, we're like down the street. Uber is really weird. And then my friend's like, yeah, tell her it's like two good looking guys down the street. I was like, all right, yeah.
How are they going to find you?
We're two good looking guys walking like down the street. You'll definitely see us.
She blew right
And then
past
no,
you.
she just like she stopped and she rolled out her window. Hey, have you guys seen two good looking guys? And we're like, oh, okay. And literally best treated insult ever. And I had to give
Your
her 5
Pennywise
stars
is
for
a
it.
smart ass Uber driver.
Yeah. Hey, have you two seen two good looking guys? We got to pick them up. Okay, thanks. Sick. Yeah, actually, you're in luck. Just on the street. That's from the actual Dumb and Dumber.
It's the
with
reverse
those-
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
The-
with
yeah,
those,
the
with
bus.
the
Yeah,
bus
the
of hot
models,
women. Like,
models,
we're
yeah.
looking for two guys to oil us up. Well, you're in luck.
There's a town about 3 miles that way.
All right, I got one more, and it's the only reason this makes my list is because I still have dreams about missing this class in college, even though I've been out of school for fucking 7 years. Mark, you went to school with the same place I did. You had the same professors I did because we both have
Yes.
finance degrees.
Yes.
Dr. Chu,
Oh my God.
this man does not speak a lick of English, but he was my finance professor in both undergrad and grad school. I have nightmares about him asking me where my papers are. Like that is my ultimate Pennywise moment. It's like him showing up at my door, like, oh, where?
I think
I can't even do it without being super
he
racist.
shouldn't have
but,
been
What
finance.
course
He
did he
should.
teach for you? What course was it?
it was investments, and then in
Home ec.
grad school it was like advanced corporate finance.
Okay. Yeah.
It was actually home ec.
Let me tell you a story just to piggyback off of this professor. So there was a time where he caught a kid cheating in my class off of his phone.
Oh goddamn!
He pulls his phone off of this kid's lap. I don't know how this kid didn't see him creeping up behind him, but anyways, caught him in the act, stopped the whole class while we were taking a test. He pulls up the projector, pulls up his email on the projector, and starts typing an email to the dean at the school
Oh goddamn!
in front
That's
of
cold.
everyone in the class while we're taking this test. And the kid is just sitting there And I felt bad for him because he was about to just start crying. And
I mean, think about it.
Everyone
You're about
was
to get
looking
expelled.
at this kid, and I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of brutal right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, not that he didn't deserve it, like he fucked up, yeah, but that guy was fucking ice cold.
To do it in
man.
front of everyone. Oh my God.
Did you ever see the car that he drove, by the way? Because it was a Toyota RAV4 and it had Hello Kitty fucking seat covers on it. I take it you have not ever seen that then?
No.
Okay. Well, he did. Doesn't matter. I take it that nobody else has any other terrifying Pennywise moments. Brick, you're really disappointing me right now.
I disappointed that I actually.
This was your question.
That was your question.
You made this up.
Oh, I did make this up.
You did make this up. And you don't have any good answers for me, so fuck
Sorry,
you.
I'm just actually
Sorry you're not
super
good
amazing,
at
never
this.
afraid of anything. I'm
Yeah.
actually fearless human. So, whatever, man.
You cried when we saw this movie.
There was a bunch of flies there and it hit me in the eyes a bunch of times, dude. Are you kidding me?
It was the onions, yeah. I think we can probably move on to our best/worst man or woman alive of the week then. Mark, you want to kick us off?
Let's start off with I have a best man of the week, and I think everyone out there will agree with me. You got to give it to J.J. Watt.
Debatable.
He has currently raised, I think, over $30 million
Jeez,
right
last
now.
time I checked, it was like 17 million, less than a week ago.
I thought it was $3 million.
Yeah,
so
right now-
he fucking blew me out of the
Right
water.
now, the headlines are saying at USA Today, Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund started by J.J. Watt hits 30 mil. So got to give it up to him.
Yeah, that's insane.
And
Good for him.
reverse route, let's talk about the worst man alive of this week. Actually, it's the worst team alive. So I guess the Braves were playing Miami in baseball. If you don't know, the Braves are a baseball team. But anyways,
Thanks.
the Braves played Rock You Like a Hurricane during the Miami game.
That's
Little
secretly cold.
a
And
little bald.
Their
Some guy like knew the weather beforehand and was like, this is going to be hilarious.
I'm actually not mad about that.
Yeah.
Their excuse was Atlanta says the song was on its regular playlist.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, if that was something they do all the time, that's just people being overly sensitive. Like, it's
But what if they did do it on purpose, Ryan?
then whatever. Who
What if
gives
they
a
did
fuck?
do it on purpose?
Move on.
Do you know what's going on up there right now?
Yes,
There's
I've
like a
seen-
triple hurricane heading
Yeah.
that way.
It's 52 on the Richter scale.
That's not a thing.
All right.
No, it's like
Anyways,
level-
moving on.
They're category 4s. So
It's a 58 on the Richter scale.
All right,
Category
Brick, do you
4s,
have
I
a
think it's
best or
pretty much
worst
out
or
of 5.
whatever?
It's pretty much out
The
of 5.
magma and lava erupting from this hurricane.
I'm going to kill your
We're
mic
done.
real
I'm
soon.
done right now.
Brick,
Yeah,
you got
just
something for me?
Yeah, best man alive. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Egan and Louis Tillman, who dressed up as Pennywise as a 3-year-old. His older brother dressed up as Pennywise, and they had the creepiest pictures of him on the internet. Check them out. Look up 3-year-old Pennywise. Spot on.
Terrifying.
Super creepy.
All right. My best woman/little girl alive is a nameless little girl who called out a guy named Owen Schroyer from InfoWars. She called him a fucking idiot, which was hilarious because he walks up to her and he's obviously trying to stir some shit, calls her a little boy, and she literally just looks at him and goes, are you a fucking idiot? And gives him the finger. And
How
like
old
he
is she?
turned around and tried to blame it on her, like, oh, this girl has no parents, like it's just raised poorly. This guy is the same one who's famous for being a Sandy Hook denier and like totally embracing Pizzagate and pushing all this other bullshit.
So they're like the person on Rotten Tomatoes where if it's like a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes,
They're the one that's
for
like
the press coverage.
No.
I thought it was stupid.
Yeah,
Dude, nope, you're just a jabroni.
exactly. So I hate to do this because mine's a little overly political this week, but also
Oh, jeez.
worst man alive, Rush Limbaugh. This week he came out on Tuesday and said he insisted that the liberal media was overstating.
The liberal media.
They were overstating the seriousness of Hurricane Irma, which is ridiculous in its own right because
There's
it's like a Category
triple
5 hurricane. And now it came out today that he's like evacuating his entire studio from Florida. So like, suck a dick, Rush Limbaugh. But I got one more, and then we can move on. And this is the worst man ever alive, and it's Steve Harvey.
Why?
It's Steve Harvey for unleashing this Hurricane Harvey on Houston. Fuck you, Steve Harvey.
I guess everyone's just blaming everything on Steve Harvey nowadays.
Personally,
so
I like
might as
Steve
well.
Harvey. I don't think he had anything to do with that hurricane. I'll just throw that out there.
I just can't
I'll be
get
the complete
over-
opposite of
That's
that.
fine, but you're wrong, but it's fine.
Have you seen?
I can't get over the Steve Harvey Family Feud compilations on the internet where they like.
Oh, you
zoom in
mean where it's the
slowly.
same thing every
Yeah, they-
time? Like somebody
They
says,
zoom in
like,
slowly on his face, and like
He
a
just-
white family walks up to
answer
the
is
podium, and they're
penis.
like, "Dicks," and he's just like, "Dicks."
and he looks at
His-
the camera and with his big dumb fake teeth.
Does he not perfectly do that though?
He does.
He does it ideally. It's amazing. Oh, Jay, that's fucking yeah. It's perfect.
He's just like, "What?"
Fuck Steve Harvey.
You gotta be kidding me. These crazy white people saying dicks and shit. Ugh, that's the face he makes. It's perfect. He
who,
makes
wrote,
it perfect.
who wrote erect penis in my fucking notes?
You did. You have a weird
You
thing
did.
for erect
You like
penises.
erect penises, I guess.
Let's move on to the news.
Read it. Read it as it is.
I'm not
as you
reading it as
wrote
it
Read it, read it as it is. Might as
Read
well.
it as
for
you
the
wrote
people.
it.
For the people.
Just for the people out there, read it as it's written.
Let's move on to the news. Drew Goddard, who wrote/adapted The Martian and Daredevil, will write and direct the X-Force movie, which apparently is going to focus mainly on Cable and Deadpool. Goddard also wrote a personal favorite of mine, Cabin in the Woods, just one of my favorite horror movies.
I've
But
never
that's
seen
a
Cabin in the
fucking
Woods.
Was it his erect
amazing
penis?
Movie. No, that's actually a really good movie.
Hey,
And
let's
that's
stop
weird.
right now. Let's stop
Why are
right
you
now.
talking about erect penises right now, you weirdo?
Because that's
Ryan
what
Smith?
one of you typed into my
Nope,
notes.
that's a weird thing to just be on the mind at all times.
Top
weirdo.
3 horror movies, go.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The original? Or the newer one? that
Wow.
was in like
you know what?
2000?
I need more time to think about this, actually.
No. Go.
Go right now. Just off the top of your head.
Cabin in the Woods, because I just
Cabin
said
in the
it.
Woods was actually quietly amazing.
Honestly, it's pretty high up there.
It is on my list for fact. It is on my list.
Oh, my third one. Shit, I don't even know.
It's hard, right?
If you're going to ask me my top 3 favorite horror movies, I need way more time.
All right, I can go right now.
Probably Dawn of the Dead, the 2009 remake. I love that movie with Ving Rhames.
Yeah. I would say Chucky Child's Play.
Are you fucking
Off yourself immediately. All these are
Chucky.
grown-
Rumpelstiltskin,
and Trolls 2.
Chucky. Trolls 2.
The Purge.
No, I'm dead serious though. Next would be Jeepers Creepers. I love Jeepers Creepers.
Did you see that the third one is coming?
No.
They're making a third one.
No, I'm excited
More
for that.
is coming.
Yeah. You got a third
I thought
one?
that was a great horror movie. I thought it was more, I don't know. I just thought it was great.
Rick, what are your 3 favorite horror movies ever?
I'm going to go It, Silence of the Lambs, and then I'm going to throw in The Shining or Saw. What do you go with? The original Saw?
I think that The Shining is more of a horror movie than Saw is just kind of like torture porn.
But the original Saw was very...
It's just torture porn, though. It's like,
The first one was like
look,
a
you got to
good-
cut your fucking hand
That's
off.
a horror movie, though. Like,
I
that's-
guess. I don't know, but if you want more iconic, also
What did you think of the new
The
Evil
Thing
Dead?
is great.
You see Evil Dead when it came out a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
yeah.
it was fine.
And
Cabin
what-
in the Woods, though, was actually amazing.
I
gotta
fucking
give that
love
one.
that movie.
I didn't expect it to be as...
You
what it
don't.
was.
You absolutely don't expect the ending, and
can't
that's
even.
what makes it so great. Also, low key, early
There
Chris
should have been
Hemsworth
more.
movie.
There should have been more.
Okay,
Oh,
let
is
me
that right?
let me do
Chris
my
Hemsworth.
let me redo my list
Nope,
right now.
can't undo.
Jeepers
what Chris
Creepers,
said.
House of Wax, and The Hills Have Eyes.
What about House of a Thousand Corpses?
I've never seen that one.
Wow, you need to see that.
Were
That
any
is
of
a
those,
creep.
we're
That is a
way off
fucking-
track now.
were any
yeah.
of those Rob Zombie movies good?
House
Have
of
you
a
ever seen
Thousand
this?
Corpses is
Actually, I take the last one back. I would
Good
say
Lord.
30 days and 30 night. No,
Top 10.
30 Days of Night.
30 Days of Night.
Also, that movie sucks. Great, let's move on.
Fuck you, man. I like that movie.
Gavin O'Connor has signed on to direct Suicide Squad 2, so he's best known for The Accountant, also starring Ben Affleck. But more importantly, he directed Warrior, starring Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton,
That
which
movie
is
still gets
a
me-
personal,
Gets me pumped. up
low-key
still.
favorite of mine. Does anybody give a shit about this movie?
No.
The first one was terrible.
Yeah, I only give a shit because it is Suicide Squad and I have a small glimmer of hope. But
But why are they still making
have
these?
The most
I don't
beaten.
know.
You could be the most beaten down person.
You are literally an abused wife.
You're Theon. Like, I'm gonna get up a
No, he's
million
Reek.
times.
He's not Theon, he's Reek.
I'm just-
Reek.
I'll get beat down by all these dumb DC movies, but
I want to
still
see more
alive
Jared
somehow.
Leto. That's what I want to see is the Joker. And hopefully...
I don't think you're going to see it a lot in
I
this
think
know.
rumor
Yeah,
has it
we'll
they
see.
want to get Leonardo DiCaprio to do it, which would be amazing.
That's a
That'd
different
be-
movie.
Scorsese.
Oh yeah.
That's the Joker origin movie. That's my next news point. DC movie universe update. Nobody has any fucking idea what's happening. So Jared Leto gave some quotes this week saying that he doesn't even know what's going on. But the Hollywood Reporter also says that the Batman will not have Ben Affleck in it.
What?
So Jared Leto, the Joker himself, thinks that he will not be the star in Scorsese's produced Joker origin movie. And the Hollywood Reporter says that Ben Affleck is not going to be Batman in Ryan Reeves' The Batman movie. Nobody has any fucking idea what's happening there. It's ridiculous.
We fucked it up again. Here we go.
I don't know about Affleck
over.
not being Batman, but I believe that Leto will not play a Joker if Scorsese does this Origins movie.
I think it will probably be DiCaprio. It just makes sense.
Probably.
Like he's been in Scorsese
Based
movies.
on the movies.
Yeah.
It would be
Scorsese has
awesome to
directed,
see him
I wouldn't hate it.
play the Joker.
But also, I think it would. There's
awesome.
like some credence to be lent to giving it to somebody that you've never heard of.
True.
My last bit of DC news: John Cena is rumored to be a favorite to play Shazam,
Yeah, I saw that.
which would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
And also, why not? Because he does everything else.
Is that the Shaq movie?
Shazam? No, that's Kazam.
That's because
I was confused.
Do you remember Shaq Fu?
No.
You don't remember Shaq Fu, the video game? It was like a Street Fighter type game. God, you're killing me.
I remember the Michael Jordan game with the you can dunk the basketballs and you get all these fucking you can throw like a flame ball and like,
Truth.
Shazam is
and hard, by the way. That game was hard as fuck.
Shazam is a DC superhero.
Billy Batson.
Yes, who is basically a child who says Shazam, and he turns into this grown man that has super strength.
Great story, right?
It sounds sick. All right.
Great. Let's move on. Pardon me if I say this wrong. Mahershala Ali is going to star in season 3 of True Detective on HBO.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing that.
This is described as a macabre crime in the Ozarks, which Brick is right up your
Been
alley
there,
because you
done
love the
that.
hillbillies. The mystery deepens over decades and takes place in 3 different time periods. Whatever.
Great.
I think
Make it
that
more
this is one of
confusing.
those shows that has enough goodwill built up via season 1 that season 2 can suck, and I will still watch season 3.
But they're mutually exclusive, so
Speaking of True Detective, though, Corey Fukunaga, who wrote season 1 of True Detective, was one of the writers on it, and I just wanted to throw that out there now.
ooh.
I didn't know that until I was reading
More
on it today.
interested in
but
this
just
third
interesting. Other news, Shia LaBeouf will not return
Damn.
for the new Indiana Jones movie.
Oh.
Also, apparently, they're making a new Indiana Jones movie.
Where's Shia LaBeouf been? More
He will not return
I need more
for
Shia
another
LaBeouf.
Indiana Jones movie. There was an Indiana Jones movie with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
The one with the fucking aliens?
I never actually saw
No
it, but
idea.
I knew there was one.
It was bad. So just ignore it. But
Yeah.
also, it's
Better
good
than
that they're
Eagle
not bringing
Eye?
it back. Whatever.
I need more Shia LaBeouf.
Also,
Shia
I
LaBeouf's
didn't know that they were
hilarious.
making another Indiana Jones movie.
Now you know.
And my last bit of news is that we've seen the first images of Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury. We talked about this last week, Mark. Brick, you weren't here, but
I listened
he
to
looks
you guys.
astonishingly like Freddie Mercury.
Looks very promising, yeah.
We still don't know what he's going to do about the singing. There's no way he can sing like Freddie Mercury. Nobody can. But he looks fucking spot on.
Is this the real? I'll stop now. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Do you guys want to move on to our movie review of the week?
Yes, Georgie. Ah.
Let's talk Stephen King's It. So far, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, 91% from fans. I think that's pretty much in the ballpark.
I agree.
Directed by Andy Muschietti, who has only done one other horror film called Mama, which I didn't see. But he's
Mama,
also actually...
Ooh, I'm Freddie Mercury.
Yes, thank you. You should definitely play
Brought it
Freddie
back,
Mercury.
baby.
Quit while you're ahead.
He's also
Is there a
signed
lot-
on
you do a lot
to
of heroin
direct
or
the
whatever?
Lock and Key Hulu series. Have you ever read the Lock and Key comic books?
I have not.
They're
Lock and
very
Key?
good. Yes.
Nope.
Don't act like you.
Yeah,
I know. I
nope.
didn't. That's
I mean,
why I didn't look at
nope.
you when I said that
You
question.
did look at me.
No, I
because
didn't.
talked. You looked right at me. Yep.
Lock and Key is a very famous horror thriller comic book series.
I read it.
Recommend reading it.
trash.
It's very good. So this movie had a $35 million budget. Projections currently are reaching upwards of 75 to 80 million for the weekend.
Good.
They're going to destroy their budget.
Good.
This movie is killing it right now. They had almost a
No
$14
pun
million
intended.
opening on a Thursday night, which is huge for a horror movie.
Yeah,
Huge.
that's big. That's
Huge.
the biggest in ever, probably.
Yes, it actually is. For an R-rated movie, it topped Deadpool. And
Wow.
obviously none of this is like inflation adjusted or whatever. But before we talk about it, though, I do want to say that the marketing for this has been amazing. So at San Diego Comic-Con, they had a fake Derry police department. So this movie is set in Derry, Maine, which is where Stephen King is from, or in that general area. But they built the entire haunted house set at San Diego Comic-Con. And they also, like, they had that fake Derry Police Department Twitter account and all that other shit. Like, it's just been on point. And earlier this week, actually, you pointed out to me the marketing team was going around and tying red balloons to sewer grates and, like, spray painting. It is coming sooner. It's just so fucking creepy.
That's actually genius.
I love it. It's fucking. That's how you should market a movie.
That's
it's
vandalism,
fucking
actually. And
Yeah,
it's a crime.
don't make extended previews of what are the sweet parts in the movie. Do something like that makes people want to go to see it. That's
exactly.
Amazing. I agree with you.
A couple other things I want to say before we get into the actual movie. We were walking out tonight. How many kids under the age of 12 do you think saw this movie with us?
I would say 20% of the theater was kids under 15.
There was a part
I don't know
where I was like, are children talking, or is it just like the sound effects of the movie?
I thought
And
it was
it's
just
like-
a movie.
But we sat out there and waited for Mark while he was doing his thing, and literally 10 children probably maybe came out of the theater.
At least.
Yeah, and they were just like, they had the time of their life, but they're also going to have nightmares
Yeah,
for the
I
rest
hope
of
they
their
have
life.
some
Full
intense
red, or-
nightmares.
Yo, do you want some clowns? Nope. That guy's
no
that's a
remorse for
nightmare.
that.
Who the fuck brings their kids to this movie?
Whatever, they're gonna watch it anyways. It's fucking 2017.
I don't think that that's true.
Yeah,
They'll find a way to
no.
watch it.
Not the
You-
kids we saw were very young.
Yes. And also...
They were like Georgie young. They were
Yeah.
like Georgie young.
And also, if you're going to watch a scary movie, you do it when your parents aren't around, like I did when I was a kid. When you had to
No, that
fucking
was
sneak
porn.
porno and shit.
Yeah, scary for you, right?
Like I had to watch the TV version of it on USA when I was like 12 years old and be scarred for life there.
Ooh, that's my Pennywise, is like beating off at your parents' house, and like he would be like the clown, would be like the person like, oh, you're like you hear the steps coming down, you're like, oh, and you're like,
Your new
that's my
Pennywise is your mom
I don't
walking in
know
on
what
you
you just
jerking
said.
off.
I have no idea. I don't think
might
I
have
want
a-
to know what you
I
were
might, have
just
a lot,
saying.
I might have a lot of beers in me quietly.
I can feel your heart beating from here.
I apologize. Let's go. Move forward.
All right, so this is the first movie in a planned duology. So you see at the very end, it says part 1. This is the kids when they are young. 27 years later, we will get them as they come back as adults. And they'll presumably face Pennywise again. I don't really know what else to take out of that. It's going to be 2 movies. The
I
original...
would have liked for it to be a little more ambiguous than just like, oh, chapter 1. I didn't like the way that
It doesn't really tell you anything, though.
It doesn't tell me anything, but I feel like they could have left it not known if it was going to be another 2
Or just like-
another
The
movie.
ending credits should say "You'll float 2," but TWO
Ooh.
question mark.
Like,
Boom.
Boo.
Yeah.
Something
Wow.
like that. A little more creative.
just like,
I know what
yeah,
you mean.
no
Yeah,
big deal.
whatever.
Yeah, but chapter 1 was lame as fuck.
Put me on
Don't
as
give me
writer.
book references.
Not the actual movie, just them calling it chapter 1.
Yeah, whatever. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, I mean, you distinguish. Let's talk about the characters. I think for the purposes of this review, we can very easily name them. We'll call them the leader, the girl, the hypochondriac, the Jewish kid, the fat kid, and the black kid.
Pretty
We're
much.
missing one more.
And the loudmouth.
And the loudmouth.
And the loudmouth.
My favorite character.
So there you go. And the loudmouth is the
And the
main
bully.
character from Stranger Things.
The leader
bully.
is the kid with the stutter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean that's the easiest way to distinguish them. We just refer to them in because I don't remember any of their names. The bully was named Henry, but that's like the one that I remember.
Ricky was the loudmouth.
Who gives a
Bill was the leader.
shit? Ricky kind of fell flat on me sometimes.
Dude, Ricky killed.
Ricky was is
dominated.
from Stranger Things, right?
Ricky
No.
was. Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah,
he was.
With the glasses. Yeah.
He
And
just
I
wore
feel
bigger
like
glasses.
They played him perfectly. He's already been a star in one thing. Starred in it. Definitely starred in it.
But he's literally like he can't play anything that's not in the 1980s now. That's all he has.
He's typecast now as the 80s kid.
Do you think he's a weird ass looking kid?
Well,
Do you
the way
think that he will grow up to be like an attractive human being?
No.
I could.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, I think he's fucked.
You never know. You never know.
I think he's pretty fucked.
You have no idea.
Hey, we'll give him a chance.
He's hiding behind those glasses. It's the classic. Take the glasses off. Let the hair
Let the hair
flow.
down. It's just-
You can't
all of a
make-
sudden he's pretty.
He's a honk all of a
You
sudden.
can't
Yeah.
make child actor or child star assumptions like that. I mean, look at Macaulay Culkin.
That's one Macaulay Culkin.
well,
Yeah.
he's probably going to start doing
180.
crack, so
Yeah. Never know.
Justin Timberlake was a child star. Justin Timberlake now.
he was like 20.
No, he was in the Mickey Mouse Club.
That doesn't fucking count.
Counts.
Moving on with it. Give me your rating for this before we get into the actual story and spoil it.
Having not seen it, I haven't seen the first one. I saw this one, obviously.
What, really?
Yeah, well, actually, I did play that super dope joke on you last time. Having not seen the first one, the original, I've seen bits and pieces. I've heard Smith talk about it or whatever. Loved every second of it. I hate horror films. I'm not a big guy, not a big fan of horror films, but this one was... There was levity involved, but there was also like a creepy aspect. I didn't consider there to be a lot of jump moments, but there were some creepy. There were some.
I think there were two. There were two jump scares, and if you rely on that as a horror film, you're not doing your job.
Yeah,
but this will legitimately creep you out.
The creepy factor, and I was just like that part. It grossed me out, and it was visually stunning, and I think Pennywise did a spectacular job of being a creepy clown. I didn't think clowns were creepy until I saw this. Shout out to Veronica, who actually thinks clowns are creepy. Now I know why. 9 out of 10.
All right, Mark, you got a rating for me?
I think you should see it in theaters.
You know what? This is the one of the only films that I'll ever say I wish we had seen it in 3D. Can you imagine the projector scene?
Do they have that in 3D? Is it an option?
I'm sure that it's in 3D.
I agree. And a lot of the scare moments was when Pennywise was running at you or jumping out at you.
They do these insane effects with him, and it's like it's not just him, it's like the scenery behind him. I think this movie would have been excellent in 3D, and I generally almost never say that because it almost always gives me a headache. But I think that this might have been worth seeing in 3D. It's definitely worth seeing in the theaters.
It's a theater movie.
For sure.
Won't give it justice if you're watching it alone at home. Unless you're literally alone in the dark.
Like, watch it on
nobody's
VR.
Home. Like, oh my God. Like, that's the
and you have a room full of like
justifiable.
Clown dolls.
Yeah.
All right. Mark, what's your rating?
I'm going to give it an 8.
I feel like you were the softest on this.
I was the softest on this. I would say all in all, this isn't necessarily my type of horror movie. Yeah, Skarsgård did a excellent job at Pennywise. The children that acted in this movie did a great job. Like Brick, you were saying, the levity in this is awesome. But I don't know. For me, I just felt kind of like it was all over the place at times. Like it was jumping here, jumping there. You have this scary, intense moment with Pennywise, and then the next scene, you're having a moment where this kid is being a bully and picking on another. I don't know. I'm used to horror movies where I'm just completely
linear.
Yeah.
The dumbest person gets killed first in your horror movies.
Kind of.
I'm gonna trip and fall. I'm a
sucker for the
freak.
You want a movie that's dark from start to finish. I think that this is more realistic in that, like, you can have a bad... Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street. You have a bad dream. Freddy Krueger's there. You wake up the next day. Guess what? It's daytime. The sun can come out. Like, it's not fully fake. That's my problem with movies like Insidious or Paranormal Activity, because they don't show the daytime. That's just a personal opinion of mine.
This is a great movie. This is just my preference to what I envision a horror movie as, and I want to be tense throughout the whole movie, and I wasn't tense throughout this whole movie. I actually was laughing, I feel like, more than I was jumping out of my seat, and that's kind of where I was caught off guard. I thought I was going to be more,
but you're not
horrified
laughing
throughout the movie.
I agree with that. And when you say you're laughing more than you're horrified, it's not like that was stupid, I'm laughing at that because
it's laughing because
it's actually the levity of the film.
It's actually balances the levity and like the horror part of it, and that's what I think makes this film so perfect is because it is a clown. It should have some levity involved into it, and I feel like I'm not trying to be there and sit there and be tense for 2 hours. I want to have like, okay, yeah, there's Pennywise. That was fucking creepy. And be like, yo, that was gross. Ugh. And then be like, okay, that kid actually, like, it makes sense for the levity of what he's saying. They did like your mom jokes for the era. Like, they killed it. That's what I like about it most. It has the element of not being tense for 2 hours.
Yeah, and Skarsgård was scary as shit as Pennywise, but
creepy.
My type of scary, now being a 26-year-old man, is
38.
38. It just doesn't really... This would be a great movie, I wouldn't say for little kids to watch. But
No.
Great date movie, I feel.
knowing that this won't happen to me, and it's based on these children's lives and their fears and everything, that's great. It's scary, but I love the scary movies where you can see yourself being in that situation, where your car breaks down and you're in the middle of nowhere
Bumble.
and somebody's chasing you with a fucking axe and trying to murder you. Like, that kind of stuff freaks me out a little bit more than a clown that you don't know if it's just the fear that these kids have or if it's real life, like that kind of stuff. But all in all, it's a great movie. Not my horror movie.
That's fair. For me, this was excellent, and it's 100% worth seeing in the theater. I'm going to give it an 8.5. This is one of my favorite movies of the year.
Same.
I've been looking forward to it for a long time, which generally when I do, I am let down. This was not the case. I waffled back and forth between whether or not the jokes worked for me, but that's not really the point. That's not what this movie is about. It's not a comedy.
Yeah, exactly. I was not expecting to laugh as much as I did.
Right, and that's fine, but it also at times kind of took me out. There were a few points that dragged, but also if I'm just pointing out the bad things, I just gave it 8.5. Like, this movie was awesome. It's completely worth seeing in the theater. I think that you should definitely go see it in 3D. I'm kind of mad actually that we didn't. I'm just picturing the scene where they're viewing the slideshow in the garage, and I'm seeing that in 3D in my mind and just shitting my pants.
Yeah.
That would be fucking amazing.
That would be.
I think that at this point, we'll call out spoilers and we'll go ahead and talk about some of the intricacies of it. All of the adults in this movie are so fucking creepy.
That's why they still live in the town.
We need to we don't need to talk about the plot of this. Like, every
no
27
plot.
years, a fucking creepy ass demon shows up and kills some people.
Children,
Kills children.
mainly.
But it seems like the parents just ignore it. Like, anyone who is over the age of 20 is just whatever.
yeah.
It's a fucking demon. Whatever.
Yep,
Don't care.
bad luck
Maybe
in
they've
this town.
experienced it in the past and know about it.
If that's the case, why the fuck didn't you get out of there?
Maybe
Man, why'd you
maybe they elaborate.
raise a family there. Yeah, I have no
maybe
idea.
they elaborate a little bit more in the second upcoming movie that's guaranteed because it's chapter 1.
I guess. Okay, so the creepy adults. Like, we got the pharmacist. The pharmacist shows up early on, and he is kind of tricked by Bev, where she like knocks some shit over so the other guys can steal shit, but also he's creepily hitting on this girl who was like presumably 13 years old.
That's one of the reasons I didn't buy it, was because if she supposedly got raped by her dad, whatever, like that, there's no way she's like aggressively, perfectly flirting with this creepy.
I don't
old
agree
guy.
with that. I think that's probably, you know what? Let's not get into the psychology of this.
I don't think you're like, oh, I'm gonna flirt with old guys when my dad raped me. Like,
Well,
no, that doesn't make
okay,
any
so that
sense.
leads me, like, Bev's dad is obviously a huge fucking creep.
The implication.
The hypochondriac kid's mom, huge creep job, just like
Yeah.
she's
Overprotective
over-medicating her
of
son
Million.
just so that he'll stay home. The librarian with the fat kid.
I loved the coward. We should have called him. He's the cow. I call him the coward, in my opinion.
You think the fat kid was the coward?
No. The fat kid he was the bravest. I'm saying the hypo. You called him the hypochondria, I think.
I think the Jewish kid was the coward. The hypochondriac goes into the house.
At the end, yeah, but he was like afraid of everything. That's what I was. He was like, oh well,
I guess.
that's gray water. You don't want to like, step on that and it's poop and piss and shit.
He's just a hypochondriac.
Yeah, all right. I guess that's fine.
I think the
I called him
Jewish
a
kid was the
coward.
one
It
that
was
was
great.
like the most terrified.
All rightfully so.
As far as Skarsgård goes, there were so many creepy effects for Pennywise that just made his performance that much better.
The twitching of the arms and like the drooling.
There's like
especially
this,
got me.
like when he's running at the kids, he's got this weird shaking face, but the camera is steady upon his eyes, and it's just shaking. Everything else is shaking around.
And his
it.
eyes were
like it happens
his eyes
so many
were
times.
creepy.
And then when they're in the creepy ass house, and he's like shoved in the refrigerator, and he comes out, and all of his bones are like that. Always creeps
Twisted
me out.
around, yeah.
That's some The Ring shit.
Yeah, that didn't creep me out for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
My fingers are broken and obliterated. Yeah, so that makes sense.
There was a point in time where he was impersonating something else, and his eyes just kind of like turned around from the back of his skull and pointed forward. His eyes were kind of googly the entire time.
Yeah, that
They
was the
were.
best.
That's
Which is
what
creepy
made
in its own
him
right.
creepy. I think. Yeah.
So creepy.
From the get go, from the sewer. When he's
Yeah,
talking
they're
to
just
little
kind of like
Georgie,
pointing into like
They're
he's an
bare-
iguana. They're just pointing in different
They're
directions.
definitely pointing in different directions, and you're like, from that point out, you're just like, there's something off about this immediately. You know, obviously from the previews, but like if you were taking it from Georgie's point of view, you're like, there's definitely reason to be reserved.
There's so much arm gore in this movie.
Really
being
Before the
Georgie's
fucking title
arm
card.
getting bit off.
Before the title card, George gets his arm bit off.
And then the black kid getting bullied, and you have Pennywise in the background waving a severed arm.
I laughed so hard at that.
Yeah, the only person in the theater, mind you, a packed theater.
That shit was hilarious. How did you not find that funny?
You took me out of it a couple of times from you laughing at the things. I was like, I don't know, what do you think this is funny, or is that because I was like grimacing like, oh, this is gross.
I thought it was okay. So
You're just a sicko.
the scene
You're a
where
sicko.
Mike, the black kid, is getting bullied by Henry and his buddies. They're on top of him and they're like punching him in the face. They're trying to get him to eat the sheep meat. He looks over and he sees Pennywise in the bushes, and Pennywise is like eating this kid's hand, and he looks at Mike and he just starts waving it hilariously.
He waves
How
the
is
kid's
that not
arm
funny to you?
in front of his face. Well, I don't know, because this little poor kid is getting beat up to death.
But that's
And he
what's
looks
so
in the corner,
ridiculous about it.
and he's a clown waving a mutilated hand, waving at him.
That's what's so fucking funny about it. It's hilarious to me. You don't have to laugh.
You're a
at it.
I even
psycho.
hated seeing the hypochondriac's arm
Broken?
And
Oh,
Yeah, that was kind
yeah.
of messed up.
I wasn't ready for that, and then you just like, oh, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
I thought it was an illusion because I wasn't sure, but then he fell through the roof, so it makes sense.
That's why Pennywise coming out of the fridge, like juxtaposed against that, Kim just snapping his bones back into place. That's why it kind of registered for me, because you're looking at a kid who just broke his arm and his arm is crooked, but then you see Pennywise who's like shoved in a fridge upside down and he's snapping his bones back into place. That's what was really creepy to me.
It is creepy. Yeah, you're right. I loved the fact that the house, not seeing the first one, so this is a little bit different, but I just feel like the house, they created that like the fun house effect, in my opinion, because it's a clown. They kept that in like the creepy way that it was like made and filmed. I thought that was great and unique to the film itself with the creepy clown. It's a creepy fun house, tries to get kids alone, and then it's like, I think the story itself is just fantastic.
So is Pennywise paying property taxes for that house?
You know he is.
No.
Like
That's
when he kills a little kid, takes him money.
Chapter 2
Takes the
is
lunch
actually Pennywise caught for tax evasion.
Pennywise
He's just
versus the
arrested-
IRS.
Arrested by the.
God damn it! They shut off my water.
Can we talk about the giant projector scene though? Because that,
Sure.
like, I was really sure that after seeing it in the previews, that it couldn't be any more terrifying. Because
See,
when
I
you
didn't
see
see
the
it. I didn't see it in the previews because I don't watch previews. Dope. But I also, that was the weakest scene in my opinion.
really,
I
when he
didn't-
shows up and he's fucking gigantic.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that was a little stupid. I didn't like the fact that he was gigantic. No.
I kind of agree with you.
It didn't.
That over the
go with
top,
me.
scary effectness of the movie kind of.
That might have been a
away from it.
3D thing. I didn't know we could do 3D.
I think it would have been more scary if it was just him chasing the kids around instead of this unrealistic, huge-faced Pennywise
that took
chomping
me
at
out of
them.
it.
Yeah.
It took me out of
I
it.
don't know.
Wow. Okay.
I thought it was more
That's fair.
if it was more life sized like he normally was, that would have been better. That would have been creepier, a lot creepier.
Okay. I guess the only other like effect scene for Pennywise that I have to talk about is when Bev shows up in the sewer at the very end. The door opens and it's like Pennywise the dancing clown. And he's
That's
like,
perfect for
he's
him to
fucking
say.
dancing, but the camera is focused just on his face and his eyes, and everything else is moving and shifting around him. Dude, that was so fucking unnerving.
Worst dance move ever.
It was so creepy.
Yeah. Why did you like the projector screen?
I just didn't expect it, I guess. So we talked earlier, I think there are two real jump scares in this. And for me, that was one of them. Because I didn't expect him to like jump out and come out of the projector, I guess.
Okay.
And the other one is
Was it
obviously
chokes?
Bev in the
The choke.
bathroom.
Yeah. Oh,
After she
we
bashes
both,
her
like-
dad's. Oh my.
we both
I literally-
looked at each other like, oh shit.
I literally
that
said
was
out
a
loud,
thing.
like, I'm not a person to say something out loud in a movie. I go, Jesus. And then I looked at you and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, we both were like, oh god.
Yeah, that, was
a
fucking.
thing. That
I
was
did
a
not
thing.
expect that at all.
Neither did I.
That's how I felt about it. And I understand how you guys, like, that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. But I just think in 3D, like, that shit is probably terrifying.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can see 3D making it better, but also still I liked the fact that he stayed in form for most of the movie.
Yes.
And he came big out of nowhere. I
think maybe
took
it
me
was
out
the
of it.
fact that
I
I've
agree.
seen that scene in a trailer and I didn't expect it to actually go that way. So maybe I just wasn't
bizarre.
expecting
Yeah.
it. It surprised me.
Another thing I'll touch on is I think they did a great job at thinking when you watch the trailers, you think they're revealing too much, but like instantly the Georgie scene in the beginning, I'm like, I already saw this. They already just released this like 2 weeks ago. I felt like I was going to see the whole scene I just saw in the trailer.
And then
but no, then Georgie's arm just gets bit off and I'm like, I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
was
either.
actually
I'll give them
perfect.
credit.
I did
I
not
will give
see
them
that
credit
at
for that
all.
in this movie.
Another throwback to the terrible adults in this when the woman like sees a giant pile of blood right outside her house and doesn't do shit about it.
And that rain will wash right out of the street. Yeah, no
just
problem.
Fucking terrible people.
But could they have picked a cuter, more innocent Georgie?
I know.
That little kid, I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
He was the cutest little guy, and I was like, oh man, you are just, your arms ripped off, brutal.
Too
Pretty
innocent.
much.
It was perfect. I thought they casted him perfectly.
Mark, as the gore expert, what did you think about the gory scenes in this film?
I thought the gore was on par.
Can we call him the sicko of the group?
There were a lot of bloody scenes.
I'll touch on it again. Now that it's hard when you don't really have a day to fully process the movie. I mean, we just got out of this movie.
Yeah.
But I think to sum it up, my one issue is just the fact that it's revolved around these kids' fears. And it just doesn't really relate to me in that sense. When I see a horror movie, I would like to see something I can picture myself in. But yeah, there was a shit ton of gore in it, a shit ton of blood. Don't think you're going to go into this movie and not get that, because you will. But
I'm going to dress like a clown and stab you.
there are so many good things about this movie. It's just not my horror movie. There's a great cast. There's great acting. It's
premise.
scary. It's creepy. It's just what do you like in horror movies? So
It's scary, creepy, has some jump moments, but it's not overbearing with jump moments, but it has
No,
its own.
like I said, I think there's only 2.
fuck it. I'll give it a 10. God damn it. All right.
Perfect. Okay. A couple other things. I think we should touch.
We'll cut that into
10,
9, 8.5. All right.
Let's talk about the humor. I think it landed a lot more break for you, at least, than it did for me. It was
I
fine.
have a 12-year-old sense of humor, obviously.
That's
I
what
usually do too.
The fact that I wasn't expecting any humor in this movie at all.
Well, it's the fucking kid from Stranger Things, the one that plays.
He
the loud
dominates. He dominates.
mouth. Finn Wolfend, whatever, doesn't matter.
He's Ricky.
He basically the entire movie is just telling jokes about how
He's just
big his
ripping
dick
his
is
kids.
and how he fucks everybody's mom.
ripping his kid. Yeah,
As a
that's the
12-year-old
12-year-old jokes.
Yeah,
that
those
like,
are 12-year-old jokes.
It's perfect. Like
I think
he
they were
plays
spot
that
on
role
with him.
perfectly. Yeah, that's what I think. Ripping his friends for being lame. It's amazing.
And it wasn't even just that. Like the hypochondriac kid, he goes to pick up his pills.
He was great too.
The pharmacist's daughter says those are placebos, and he yells at his mom later, "They're gazebos."
Yeah.
Like that shit is hilarious.
Yeah, that was
It just
perfect.
lightens the mood on this, and I think that's the difference between 2017 horror movie and a 1990 horror movie, because they didn't think that you could have funny scenes in a horror movie back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really adds levity, and it adds a different dimension to these movies.
It could be labeled as just horror, but there's definitely a level of comedy that they threw in there. Not even making fun of the movie, just like they took the child humor of that era and integrated it into it, and I thought it was perfect.
I mean, there were even times where I probably shouldn't have laughed, and I thought that shit was hilarious.
There were plenty of times.
There were
he did
times
that.
where Finn, the loudmouth kid, some of the jokes he said, I was like, "Jeez, man, that's kind of ruthless." Like when they were in the
Suck
sewer,
your dad's dick, you mullet wearing.
not
fuck.
even that.
Yeah.
When they were in the sewer and they found that girl's shoe, and he's like, "Wow, oh my god, I feel so bad for her. She's walking around the sewers without her shoe." I'm just like, dude, she's been missing for a year. Like,
Dude, when you're a 12-year-old, you're quietly cold-blooded when it comes to it.
you
That's
are
also
cold-blooded.
another thing that I thought of, like all the kids, like when they had their moment with Pennywise, but like every time they talked about Georgie, they'd always like hold their tongue for like the last second, then look at him.
Well,
But, like,
yeah.
yeah, out of respect out of that, but like you're a 12-year-old, like, oh yeah, and then that one kid died. Oh yeah, sorry, Bill. Like that, like there was that, yeah, sorry, Bill, fag. They dropped like faggot and retard and stuff like that. Like that was the terminology back in the day.
yeah.
But I just felt that was kind of they nailed the inappropriateness of the children of the era.
All right, now that Smithers is out of the room, so I was thinking of moving your logo face up to the top right. I'll shrink down Smithers' face to maybe half the size of our heads, and I'll just quietly hide it in the middle of the sea. So like you don't really notice it, but it's still there, so you can't really be mad about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe I'll just delete his whole head altogether.
No, you should put an arrow and just say gross to his face.
Yeah, like maybe next podcast we
put
can just
hunks. next to ours and then be like, yo, gross.
I could
Just
do
like
that.
in the middle of like the angle there.
Or I could just figure out all the passwords to his logins and just completely boot him off the podcast in general. Like we can pack
His
up our
Facebook
stuff.
is quietly saved on my iPad.
Yeah.
Because he gave me the password to the Chumpcast Facebook.
He technically doesn't have rights to the Chumpcast, so we can take the name, we'll roll with it, we'll keep going with the Chumpcast.
This is the best part of the podcast too, by the way, because it's just me and Mark. Obviously, Mark and I. Sorry for the problem.
They're just taking a long shit right now. But anyways, yeah, he's coming
And then
back.
everyone
He's coming
says
back. He's coming
jabroni.
back. Yeah,
I don't have any idea what you guys were saying when I was pissing, but
exactly.
you do.
probably
Yeah,
both
it was
Point, you'll
important
listen to
anyways.
it later
Pretty
and
much
you'll rethink
golden
this whole
content.
podcast.
So was the fat kid just invincible? Because he gets stabbed in the stomach and clawed across the chest by Pennywise.
I think he was the most fearless of them all. To be
Had to
honest,
be.
because he was like, "Yo, I got this girl. Let me write this dope poem to her."
Why can't the fat kid get the girl for once?
Because
He
they're
does
so-
kind of.
you got to be realistic
There were a
at
lot
some
of
parts.
there were
in
a
the
lot
movie.
of plugs.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
That's mean.
I resent that, by the way.
Update.
Update.
Update. Mock hates fat kids.
Yeah. Slash, I'm the only one without a girlfriend.
That
slash
fat kid
wife.
didn't piss you off? Oh my god, he pissed me
Loved the
off.
fat kid. He was the
No,
best.
dude, he was
best
a smart
character.
one.
He was a cool guy.
I'm kidding.
That's
Shit.
the difference between him and you, though. Is like he's intelligent.
You're also difference between you and the bully was actually nothing at all because you're a Jerkosaurus Rex. All right?
Jerkosaurus Rex.
Also, I didn't stab my dad in the throat.
He does. He kisses the girl in the end. He brings her back to life.
Forcefully.
I have that
Rape.
Technically, everyone else felt was like a little it didn't even work. You know, they had that vibe in it.
There was that half a second where
There
it was
was
kind of questionable.
which is perfect.
But that kind of
which
brings
was
me to my
perfect.
next point, which is like some of the hamminess of this movie didn't really land for me.
I loved the embracing the loser was endearing to myself. I thought
I'm
that
good
was-
with that.
I thought that they all were like, "Yo, welcome to the loser club." Like they kept adding into these kids, like, "Yo, you're in the group now."
The
You gotta fuck up
hypochondriac
this
didn't
clown.
embrace it. He wrote the V over his cast, so it said lover instead of loser. He obviously wasn't comfortable with it.
Okay, well, that's one of
Maybe
the,
he just didn't want loser written on his cast.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's
Embrace
actually-
it. Embrace it.
He had it. He had loser plus lover on it. It was like a combo
Oh,
thing
yeah?
because you can still see the S clearly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have one big question for the sequel. They're going to be adults. Can't they not see Pennywise?
Maybe they're gonna help kids that are being followed by Pennywise overcome their fears.
So let's go back 54 years because that was the Easter egg hunt, like steel mill explosion. It said that like 108 people total died, but 80 of them were kids. So some adults died. Pennywise looks for kills where he can get fear. So it doesn't really matter whether they're kids or adults, but kids are more susceptible to fear, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The one thing that I felt gears towards the adults not being able to kind of know what's going on is the rapist dad who didn't see the blood in the room. That's the one thing that I was like, yeah.
He's just a psychopath.
He's a psychopath.
And the
He
same
raped his
thing with
daughter,
fucking
that's
the
again-
bully's dad. Like he's just a psychopath.
And the hypochondriac's mom, she's
Psychopath.
more-
Like I said,
she's like overly-
all of the old
but
people in this town are fucking
she's
crazy.
overly protective, which made me think like, oh, maybe she knows what's going on in the town. That's why she's overly protective.
Maybe.
Oblivious,
I don't know. It remains to be
Oblivious
seen. Look, the
nonetheless.
movie hasn't even started shooting yet. So we won't know this for several years.
So yeah, let's get some predictions going.
I'm excited to see the next one.
Sam, can they ruin it? Is the question.
Oh, absolutely they can ruin it.
Yes, they
Sure.
can.
That's
Easily.
not even a question. But if they show up and they just pretend that they're not scared the entire time, that's kind of going to suck. Because that's immediately how you just beat Pennywise. Like you have to be
Yeah,
scared of something.
Exactly.
That's the other
Maybe
thing I feel about this is like these kids would be so fucked up from this
Maybe the second chapter would be like them
in an insane asylum because
Coping,
that's
yeah.
exactly where they would be.
literally coping with it and dealing with it, like the way.
You'll probably see how fucked up they really.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they started out with a goddamn blood oath.
Yeah, that didn't really sit. Like as far as hamminess goes, that's terrible.
Yeah,
So
there
dumb.
was that was way too much ham. The blood oath, and then her, what's her name? Betsy. What the hell is her name?
Bev.
Bev.
Beverly.
Her kissing back Bill, and then wiping her blood oath hand on his face.
That's how you got AIDS, man. It was the 80s.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
How did you get AIDS? I mean, a blood oath with 8 people
Who saw clowns consecutively?
Yeah, who all saw some psycho clown eat some kid, and then like, yeah, I was weird. That's why I got AIDS.
I don't know. What do you want to see out of a sequel for this?
Samuel L. Jackson as the black kid.
I want to see.
He'd be like 80.
Yeah, he would be. He could be a grandfather, maybe.
No, the guy from The Office in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Craig Robinson.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Craig Robinson.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see him too.
Maybe like Will Ferrell is one of them.
And they throw it. That would be the levity that they continued to have.
Maybe Danny McBride as the bully.
No, it's the
with
fat
the mullet.
kid.
Who's the fat kid? Danny
Definitely
DeVito?
the fat kid.
Call back.
Danny DeVito
Call
was
back
like 90.
from 2 episodes ago.
I think Danny McBride could definitely play the fat kid.
Yeah.
Danny McBride could play the fat kid. Okay, so this is like
I'm gonna say Channing Tatum is the main character.
With the stutter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Channing Tatum's the stutter guy.
Who would be the loudmouth?
The Jew would be Seth Rogen, right?
Gotta be.
Yeah.
I could see also the fat kid being Jonah Hill, though.
I'm okay with that.
I'd rather have Jonah Hill than
Yeah.
Danny McBride. Danny McBride's kind of more of an asshole.
We just turned this into a comedy.
Yeah, we just turned this into this is the end. This is the end.
That's really what
Everybody's
we just did.
fears, like eating. Yeah.
All right, who's the girl? Anna Kendrick?
Amy
Emma
Adams.
Watson's.
Amy Adams. Okay.
Literally,
Amy
she
Adams.
looks like
Amy
Amy
Adams.
Adams as a child.
No, because when she was in the quarry, she came out and her hair was slicked back and she looked like fucking Pennywise.
It was creep eyes. It was all because she was also like creeping up from the water, and her eyes were a little.
She had some
cross-eyed.
fucking googly
She had
iguana eyes.
huge eyes that
Yeah.
just like, oops, they're outside of each
Yeah.
other. It's weird.
Not a fan of that.
That was the one time she didn't look like it.
I thought it was
like-
weird when I literally leaned over to you. I'm like, she looks just like if Amy Adams was a child.
Yeah.
And then the part where the pharmacist was, well, if I'm Superman, you're Lois Lane. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
creep,
That was
dude.
the creepiest fucking.
Yeah, so fucking
But also,
creepy.
if she was a cartoon character, I said this back to you almost immediately, was she is the girl that Arnold has a crush on from Hey Arnold, the girl with the red hair.
All right. Any other thoughts on it? Great movie. Go see it.
I think you should go see it for fact in theaters. Spend the money to go see it in
It's
theaters.
worth the theater.
It's worth it. It's a theater movie.
For sure.
A
Yes.
horror movie that
I
You will
agree.
jump out of your seat.
Go see it.
Let's do recommendations for the week. I'll kick this off. I watched the Netflix original movie What Happened to Monday. It's a, I guess, futuristic thriller where in the future you can only have one offspring, but since they have genetically modified crops, basically modifies your gene pool to have like several kids at a time, like up to septuplets.
twins, triplets,
Right. So that this
centuplets, whatever the fuck you call
Willem
it.
Dafoe is the grandfather. His daughter has 7 girls at once, and he names each one of them for a day of the week. And each one of them, since you're only supposed to have one, you have to hide all of them. Each one of them can go out one day a week, so they have to come up at the end of the day and share their day. And like, they all have to know everything that the other one knows. And eventually, one of them sells them out, and et cetera, et cetera. It's a really good psychological thriller. Like, you don't really know what's happening until the very end. I thought it was worth watching. It's on Netflix, obviously, so
I'll throw in another Netflix William Dafoe movie,
go for it. Death Note?
Death Note.
Death Note.
I actually thought I didn't watch any of the anime, whatever. I went in
Fuck
there.
you, man. Just fuck
Fucking,
you already.
You fucking
Yeah.
weeaboo.
Yeah, I'm on the bandwagon of the non-anime. Just saw this on Netflix because it was interesting. Premise of it was very interesting. I thought it was gonna be more of a horror movie.
It's almost like you didn't listen to our episode last week where I talked about this.
No, I know you did. That's why I listened to it actually.
Okay.
And then watched it. It wasn't like a super intense thriller because I watched it while I was going to bed, and it wasn't one of those where I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a super nightmare after this or whatever.
No, it was fine, right?
It was fine. It was fine.
It was the epitome of fine.
William Dafoe, like it was the creepiest monster ever, but just like he talks like William Dafoe. So I was like, oh,
Yeah, like if
like not
Pennywise
that
came
bad.
to me in a voice, in a face, it would be Willem Dafoe.
yeah. So I enjoyed it. The premise was awesome. I thought it was very cool. I thought it was cool.
Mark?
2 recommendations. The first one being, since Brick loves games in general,
Hell yeah.
I brought a card game over. It's playing card game is called Flux, Fluxx. This one is Batman Flux, so it has all these Batman characters
Don't
and stuff
flux
on it.
with me.
Avi. But
Still your joke.
it's pretty fun. We were playing this for about an hour before we jumped on this podcast. It's confusing as shit at first, but then you kind of pick it up and it gets interesting. So
After one game, you pick it up immediately, and you're like, okay, this makes sense. And then it's actually sweet. Watching you play through, it's actually fun.
yeah,
I
so
would also like to point out that Mark lost both times.
He did. He's over 2.
I am 0 for 4 in any games we've played,
Yeah.
including Jenga.
What should we
Trash.
make him do for this?
No, we didn't agree on anything. So fuck you.
No Rick and Morty.
Fuck no.
We'll bet the next one.
Let me finish. I got one more recommendation that I think we can all stand behind as Americans, and as just humans in general. I think a recommendation would be to donate something, whether it be $5, $10, whatever you want to donate to hurricane relief for either the hurricanes, Harvey, Irma, whatever it is. I think just this isn't an argument. This isn't what you believe in. This is just believing in humanity. I think we should all donate something. So that's.
I disagree. I think.
Okay.
If you're going to spend
Hurricane
money,
should win.
actually, if you're going to spend money, go to thechumpcast.com.
Yeah.
Buy some t-shirts.
Or take that $20 donation
All
and
the
jump on
proceeds?
tpublic.com. That's teepublic.com. We have merchant. No, I'm just kidding.
It's
That was,
a very
quiet,
good
that was
point, Mark.
quietly a full plug, though.
That was quietly a plug, though.
Also, South Park comes back this week.
Fuck
Very excited
yes.
for that.
Ooh,
Oh my
boy.
God.
And next week, I think we're going to do American Assassin.
What? No.
The movie that comes out next week.
Who? Where?
American Assassin.
Who's that with?
Fucking Michael Keaton.
Ass and Americans.
What about the one with Tom Cruise?
That does not
TC.
come out yet.
God damn
Jesus
it.
Christ. How many times do I
What's
have
that
to
one called?
fucking tell you
What's
this?
that called? What's that called, though?
I don't remember.
American Assassin.
But it's not coming out next week, so American Assassin next week. God damn it. I'm done with this.
Oh, did you see?
Shut up.
Did you see the previews for that HBO series? I think it's called Deuce with James Franco.
No.
It looks pretty good. It like takes place in the 70s. Go check it out. You have HBO Go or something? Yeah. We might want to watch that instead of just seeing a mediocre movie
American
we're really not
Made.
excited about.
American Made.
American
that
Made.
doesn't come out
American
next
Made.
week, though.
What's the show on HBO with James Franco? Put James Franco HBO. I think
Real
it's called
Sex
Deuces.
with James Franco.
Real.
No, that does look actually super good.
Do you know what I'm talking
I saw
about?
a preview for it because I watched Game of Thrones.
Great.
Duh.
Can we
It
close
is
this
about
shit out?
the porn industry, actually.
Awesome.
Yes.
Have a good night, everybody.
The Deuce.
The
On
Deuce.
HBO. Premieres Sunday at 9.
The first episode's out, actually.
Starring me at about 9:30 a.m. tomorrow.
It's out already?
The Deuce, starring me after Taco Bell tomorrow morning.
Two James Franco's porn 1970s New York. The Deuce
Oh,
could
I've heard
go
of this.
so wrong, but it doesn't. Wow, that's what Vox said. I don't know what that is. It's a piece.
Oh, yeah. We can't review that whole show. It's not at Netflix. It's HBO. So it's
Great.
a weekly thing.
Good night, everybody.
Are we wrapping this up?
Yes.
Don't wrap it up twice. It'll break the condom. See ya.
What'd you say? That's a good recommendation. Are you sleeping over there?
Are you going to say it or not?
All right, guys. It was fun. Chumps out, motherfucker.